So community engagement is clearly a priority for police forces, like most public service organisations, but actually implementing it successfully is quite a problem. So the community engagement classification was commissioned as a policy tool to try and help police forces and police officers more effectively target their community engagement initiatives, taking into account different neighbourhoods and the people living there. So the classification draws on the Place Survey, which was a survey undertaken of all local authority areas back in 2008, and it asked a wide range of questions, including things like the extent to which people feel they belong to their community, how much volunteering they undertake, but it also looked at whether people had participated in local decision-making forums, including crime forums. So basically what the classification does is to take those findings from the 2008 survey, use more contemporary data to enable us to statistically model the sort of factors which explain why community engagement is high in some neighbourhoods and much lower in others. And what the classification has done is to create a profile of all of the neighbourhoods at the lower super output area across the entire East Midlands, and it has basically classified all of these neighbourhoods into 13 types. At one end of the spectrum are the community engagement rich neighbourhoods, which should be fertile areas for police forces and officers to successfully engage the local community and helping them to tackle crime. Whereas other types of neighbourhood at the other end of the spectrum, there are a series of problems. It's not necessarily we're saying that those people living in those communities don't want to participate, but a whole series of factors that might explain why the level of community engagement is poor. So as well as identifying the overall community engagement profile, it looks at specific issues such as fear of crime, the incidence of crime, levels of volunteering, participation, amount of social diversity. So in the neighbourhoods where it might be harder to successfully engage the local community, the tool gives some pointers to what might be the particular aspect that police officers or forces have to work on, such as instilling a greater sense of belonging to the community and wanting to help tackle crime. In other areas it might be to do with high levels of fear of crime. In other areas it may simply be that people haven't got time to participate. We know that community beat meetings tend to be attended by the same sorts of individuals. They're a kind of fairly narrow cross-section of the community, and obviously effective community engagement needs to try and engage as many people as possible. One of the things that we're really kind of keen on is not only finding out whether our classification of the neighbourhoods is correct, so we're going to use the personal experiences of officers who patrol those neighbourhoods to say, yes, the classification says this neighbourhood is like this in terms of community engagement, and how that fits in with their experiences of working with local residents. But also as a policy tool, it's really important that this enables strategic decision making and delivers better kind of community engagement initiatives. So the idea is it will be to trial the classification over a 12-month period, and then to use the feedback in terms of either looking at additional issues, but also looking at how the information that we've engaged in the classification, presented the classification, is actually used, and what we might need to do in terms of making it more readily accessible, or adjusting it slightly to make it easier to feed into decision-making processes.